This is MTG Burgeoning, and in this video we are going to update and upgrade our Morophon the Boundless Changeling Tribal EDH deck. Welcome back and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Up and Up series. Today it's Morophon the Boundless and our oh-so-famous, oh-so-unique Changeling deck. We have a Changeling-specific build. We have a Changeling pool with over 100 cards representing 100 different unique tribes in Magic the Gathering. And in this video today, we are adding 4 new cards to the 99, which means 4 cards are coming out. And we are all about the lands in this video. We got 4 lands going into our land base, which means 4 lands are going to come out. We are continuing our trend of trying to make this the ultimate Changeling build. Are we expensing some of our competitiveness by doing so? Perhaps in pockets, but as more and more Changeling-specific cards come into the format, we take another step closer to regaining that competitive edge. For today, 4 lands in, 4 lands coming out. The first new land into the 99, one that somehow eluded our previous land building videos and Up and Up series, the Secluded Courtyard. This comes into play, we choose a creature type, it taps for a colorless mana, or it taps to add 1 mana of any color, but we can only spend that mana to cast a creature spell of the chosen type, or to activate an ability of a creature source of the chosen type. So although this will not help with our non-changeling spells, it will with the generic mana, this will help us to color fix our creature spells. Particularly because, remember, all of our changelings are all creature types at all times. Secluded Courtyard is going in. It is going to replace Steam Vents. Now here's where we start to lose perhaps a little bit of the competitive edge. This of course is our Is It Shock land. It comes into play tapped unless we pay 2 life. Taps for a blue, taps for a red for any of our spells, where Secluded Courtyard is going to tap for that is going to tap for that colorless mana for our non-changeling spells or our non-creature spells, as long as it's not one of the creature types we chose. So we're trying to do a balance here. The Steam Vents is not really a changeling-y card. The Secluded Courtyard is. So the balance of mana, although we get to cast our creature spells without any, barriers to mana fixing, it's those other spells that might end up coming back to bite us because we can't tap them for blue or red at any time of the game. We'll have to revisit that with more and more gameplay experience, but for the time being, Secluded Courtyard in, Steam Vents out. Next land going into the 99 of this build, it is Brotherhood Headquarters. We could tap for a colorless mana, or similar to Secluded Courtyard, we can tap to add 1 mana of any color, but we can spend this mana only to cast an assassin spell or a spell that has free running. Or we can activate an ability of assassin source that we control. So, similar to Secluded Courtyard, this is going to let us cast our creature spells without any fear of mana screw, and that colorless mana that it generates is hopefully going to be enough to help somehow balance the other spells that we're going to cast. Now, everything that we said about Secluded Courtyard is going to apply to Brotherhood Headquarters, except we don't choose the creature type. We pretty much just jam it into our assassin spells or our free running spells or our activated abilities of our assassin sources. Alright, so that's kind of like Secluded Courtyard number 2, but it's assassin specific, which is still going to work to our advantage because our changelings are also assassins. Brotherhood Headquarters is in. Coming out is Arid Mesa. This is our Boros fetch land. We all know how these work. This helps to fix our mana. We're taking out the fetch land. We're putting in Brotherhood Headquarters, and everything we said about Steam Vents somehow applies to Arid Mesa, because we could use Arid Mesa to fetch Steam Vents onto our side of the battlefield. We're not doing that here. Again, we're taking another step towards the evolution of this deck becoming 100% Changeling Tribal. That's including the lands step by step. This time, Arid Mesa out, Brotherhood Headquarters in. Land number 3 going into the 99. That is Bucolic Ranch. Here we have another land. This one is a desert. It taps for a colorless mana. It taps to add 1 mana of any color, but we can only spend that mana to cast a Mount spell. Keep in mind, Mount is a creature type, similar to Assassins, and similar to the creature type we would select for Secluded Courtyard. We can also pay 3 generic mana, tap Bucolic Desert, and look at the top card of our library. If it's a Mount card, we may reveal it and put it into our hand. If we don't put it into our hand, we may put it onto the bottom of our library. So here we take our progression, our evolution of these types of, tribal specific lands, and we add a card advantage component. Remember, changelings are all creature types at all times, so if we look at that top card and it is a changeling, that means it is a Mount and we can put it into our hand. And even if we don't like it, we can put it on the bottom of our library instead. Actually, we may put it on the bottom of our library if we don't like it. So this is going to help with card advantage. It's going to help with our changeling spells. And yes, we are stockpiling the colorless mana that's going to be generated for our non-changeling spells. And that's something that we're just going to have to keep an eye on. With Bucolic Ranch going into the 99, it is going to replace... Here we go, another Shockland. This one is our Gruul Shockland. That is Stomping Ground. Everything we said about Steam Vents and somewhat what we said about Arid Mesa is going to apply to Stomping Ground. We're trying to evolve the land base to be 100% flavorful changeling, just like the entire deck is going to be at some point in the future. One step at a time. All right, MTGBC, we're down to the last land being put into the 99, and that fourth and final card of this video, it is Eldrazi Temple. Now here we're skipping all colored mana, and we're going right to our own personalized Temple of the False God, except we don't need a land count, we just need a changeling. We can turn this land sideways for a colorless mana, or we can turn it sideways for 2 colorless mana, but we can only spend this mana to cast an Eldrazi spell or activated abilities of colorless Eldrazi. So as long as we have an Eldrazi in our hand, which, let's face it, that's one of our changelings, we can tap this bad boy and put 2 colorless mana into our mana pool and use that mana to cast that changeling spell. With Eldrazi Temple going into the 99, of course, it's going to replace Seraph Sanctuary. Now, this land would gain us 1 life when it comes into play, and whenever an angel comes into play under our control, it would gain a life, and it would tap to give us just 1 colorless mana. The incidental life gain, it's okay. It's not game-breaking. It's not anything we're married to. This isn't a dedicated life gain deck. So with Eldrazi Temple knocking Seraph Sanctuary out, I think we can all agree that the potential of doubling up the colorless mana generated by Eldrazi Temple for our changeling spells is going to trump the peripheral life gain that we would get by having our angels, which would be our changelings, enter our side of the battlefield to gain us 1 life each time. And there you have it, MTGBC. 4 new lands into the 99, replacing 4 previous incumbents. Let me know your thoughts about these changes in the comment section below. This is MTG Burgeoning, your channel for all things Magic.